All right, everybody, welcome to the college on the music of the Rendezvous. Couple, 3 or 4 things that we know about the Rendezvous. We know one particular song was played there, and they sang it. It was recorded in a number of journals. It's called The Hunters of Kentucky, and it was President Andrew Jackson's campaign song. And there was a Shoshone Indian man named Old Bull who they taught to sing the song phonetically, and he would sing it at every rendezvous, and everybody would give him beer and whiskey or whatever they had. And then the song originally premiered in New Orleans, and of course it was famous because Jackson had the Battle of New Orleans. And there's the verse that says, "Show us the Kentucky boys are alligator horses." And that was a slang term for the hunters from Kentucky. And when he sang that, it brought the house down. So the guy who originally performed it had to perform it about 7 or 8 times, because when he got to this second verse, everybody stood up, started hooting and hollering and shooting off their guns. So here we go, the Hunters of Kentucky. Ye gentlemen and ladies fair who grace this famous city, listen if you've time to spare while I rehearse the ditty. And for the opportunity, conceive yourself quite lucky. Very often that you see a hunter of Kentucky. Oh, Kentucky, the hunters of Kentucky. Oh, Kentucky, the hunters of Kentucky. We are a hardy, free-born race, each man to fear a stranger. Whatever the game, we join the chase, despising toil and danger. And if an errant foe annoys whate'er his strength and forces, we'll show him that Kentucky boys are alligator horses. Oh, Kentucky, the hunters of Kentucky. Oh, Kentucky, the hunters of Kentucky. And that alligator horses verse was the one that brought the house down. So he had to stop at that point and redo it 6 or 7 times.
That's an encore?
Yeah.
Encore.
Encore. Now the instrument the instrument I'm playing is the banjo, and we can document one banjo coming through Bent's Fort in the late 1830s, early 1840s. So nobody wrote down what the banjo played, but we know a banjo was floating around the Southern Rockies. So that's the American influence. The banjo is actually an African-American instrument. The slaves brought over the construct in their head, and the original instrument, it's played just like the African instrument. It had this string on top, this drone string. So when I play it, I'm going down, and I'm hitting that drone. That's what that dirty print is, my thumb rest right there. So it's going. That's what gives it the rhythm. And what the Americans did is they added what they call the fifth string, which is this one, which gives you the ability to make chords. So for anybody who understands music, it's tuned to an open G. And then the song I was playing was in the key of D with an A and a G. So that's basically, you start putting together chords and you can do Western style music on an African instrument. So there was lots of different influences. We're talking about the American influence. Another influence was a lot of the old fiddle tunes. And there's one that was called Mrs. McLeod's Reel that was a Scotch-Irish fiddle tune that the Americans took and wrote odd lyrics to. And that one was called Uncle Joe or Hop High Ladies. Here's your horse, sing a footer, Uncle Joe, Uncle Joe. Wrong chord. You don't get this kind of mess up in pre-recorded music.
I can edit.
So that's just a little bit of what a lot of the American tunes were like. They're nonsensical words, which is a trick they picked up down in Appalachia in the South from the African Americans. A lot of African music is meant to dance to, and so if there's any lyrical content, there's a lot of repetitive stuff and a lot of answer and callback and a lot of nonsensical words like hop high ladies, cakes all dough, that doesn't mean anything. So true African songs are a real driving rhythm, and they sound different than an American song. So we've heard a couple of American songs. So here's an African American song, and it's called George Buck. George Buck is dead, the last thing he said, don't put no shotgun in my bread. George Buck is dead, the last thing he said, don't put no shotgun in my bread. My name is George Buck, I ain't never had no luck, 'cause I've been married my whole life. My name is George Buck, I ain't never had no luck, 'cause I've been married my whole life. Yeah, George Buck is dead, the last words he said, don't put no shotgun in my bread. George Buck is dead, the last thing he said, don't put no shotgun in my bread. So that's a dance tune, so everybody can hear the difference. The American tune kind of told a story. That was kind of a story, but it's a loose association of verses that are sort of related. And the main thing is that driving rhythm. So what happened was, in the 1830s, a form of musical entertainment developed, blackface minstrelsy, that lasted clear up until within my lifetime in 1964, when NBC canceled Amos and Andy's show on TV. So this is an art form in America that lasted over 120 years. And we've got documentation of trappers in 1824 at Fort Atkinson in Nebraska. The Indian agent blackened his face and performed a minstrel show for the trappers. So this was done for the mountain men, and they did it. And this song was probably an African American song, but it was eventually published, and of course an American author claimed authorship of it and got the royalties off it and became rich. So it's called the Boatman Song, and it's thought to be originally an African American song because the African boatmen are the heroes of the song, not something you would normally notice in a white song written about African Americans. Hi-ho, the boatmen go, rolling down the river in the Ohio. Hi-ho, the boatmen go, rolling down the river in the Ohio. Boatmen dance, boatmen sing, the boatmen do most everything. When the boatman comes ashore, he spends his cash and he works for the Lord. Dance, boatmen dance, dance, boatmen dance, dance all night to the broad daylight, roll home with the girls in the morning. Hi-ho, the boatmen go, rolling down the river in the Ohio. Hi-ho, the boatmen go, rolling down the river in the Ohio. Boatman is a thrifty man, there's none can do as a boatman can. Never saw a pretty girl in my life, but what she wasn't some boatman's wife. Dance, boatman dance, dance, boatman dance, dance all night till the broad daylight, roll home with the girls in the morning. Hi-ho, the boatmen go, rolling down the river to the Ohio. Hi-ho, the boatmen go, rolling down the river to the Ohio. Went on board the other day to see what the boatman had to say. There I set my passions loose to slam me in the calaboose. Dance, boatman dance, dance, boatman dance, dance all night till the broad daylight, go home with the girls in the morning. So that's one that an African actually wrote and then became,
Is this homeless town?
yeah, over the hill, dog holler.
We've just about ended spending the night in Towser jail.
Yeah. So,
No shit, they were trying to drop concrete blocks to block us in the parking lot.
yeah.
I'm all right with that.
The next song, there was a number of Frenchmen in the mountains, and
All right.
a French song that I've identified that was played by the Voyageurs and Come Up the River it's a Voyageur song, so it's a cadence song. They were paddling, and so they sang to help keep that cadence going in the big canoes. So this one is an audience participation. So I'm going to teach you what you got to say. And the word translates as I'm rolling my ball. That's all the course is. So it's en roulant, ma boule roulant. All right, so everybody say that. En roulant, ma boule roulant. And then you repeat it again. En roulant, ma boule. So that's it. Nothing to her.
Northwest Company. Man.
Yeah, Northwest Company man. You're exactly right.
I'm a free trapper.
Yes. So the song basically is the story of some people who have a nice house and there are ducks in the pond, and the son of the Lord comes along and shoots the ducks and eats them with his shotgun. And they're complaining about what a horrible son bitch he is. So that's what this song is about. So, derrière chez nous, y'a tong a tong, en roulant ma boule. Derrière chez nous, y'a tong a tong, en roulant ma boule. Trois beaux canards, c'est vent, bognon, roulis, roula, ma boule roulant, en roulant ma boule roulant, en roulant ma boule, en roulant ma boule roulant. En roulant ma boule, trois beaux canards, c'est en bonbon. En roulant ma boule, trois beaux canards, c'est bonbon. En roulant ma boule, les fils du roi inventent chanson. Roulis, roula, ma boule roulant. En roulant ma boule roulant. En roulant ma boule. En roulant ma boule roulant. En roulant ma boule. So you've paddled a lot. Can you see where that would kind of keep you going?
Picturing it in my.
Should have been singing that. With
He
you.
should have. Kelly should have been singing with that French Canadian ancestry. Except
Through the
except
nose.
like Bill Emmerich said earlier, we asked Kelly if he's going to sing, not to use his voice. So Scottish and British Isles influence also came in, and there's a song that's one of the Child ballads. And Sir Francis Child was a British nobleman who in the 1860s, about the time of our Civil War, started collecting old English songs. And he collected about 320 of them, and they're called the Child ballads. And this one, when it got to America via Scotland, it was originally called Matty Graves. And when it got here, it was called Shady Grove. So I don't know if you've heard that old song, Shady Grove, but this is it. The difference in a lot of Scottish music, regular tunes are kind of bright and peppy, you know. There's a G, there's a C, there's a D. Well, this one has a G, but because it's Scottish and they're infinitely sad and they live in a shithole, they've got a minor chord, which sounds, yeah, with their Dollar General pants like I'm wearing. So he teases me about my pants, said I could have bought them at Dollar General in the pajama aisle.
Who said
Yeah.
that?
Oh,
Red Rocket?
the Frenchman down there in the muted shirt.
Oh, in the Hawaiian shirt.
Yeah, the Hawaiian shirt. So here's Shady Grove. Eyes as black as the morning sun, hair darkest brown. You're the love of my life, stay till the sun goes down. Shady Grove, my little love, Shady Grove, my dear. Shady Grove, my little love, I'm gonna leave you here. Went to see my Shady Grove, she was standing at the door, shoes and stockings in her hand, little bare feet on the floor. Shady Grove, my little love, Shady Grove, my dear. Shady Grove, my little love, I'm gonna leave you here. When I was a little bitty boy, I wanted a pocket knife. Now that I'm a man full grown, looking for a wife. Shady Grove, my little love, Shady Grove, my dear. Shady Grove, my little love, I'm gonna leave you here. Wished I had me a great big horse, corn to feed him on. Little girl, stay at home, feed him when I'm gone. Shady Grove, my little love, Shady Grove, my dear. Shady Grove, my little love, I'm gonna leave you here. Shady Grove, my little love, Shady Grove, I say. Shady Grove, my little love, don't wait till Judgment Day.
Hoi, hoi.
Hoi, hoi, hoi. So that's the Scots-Irish influence, and of course there are a number of other songs like Poor Wayfaring Stranger, which is documented on the Santa Fe Trail, and some others. And then since I started researching the music in Warren Angus Ferris was a mountain man who left a biography, and he talks about that the Tauseños, when they come up into the mountains, played their guitars. So we know that guitars were at the rendezvous. So the common instrument was probably a fiddle because it was easy to transport. I found one banjo in reference to guitars. So I didn't know what kind of songs were played, what Hispanic music sounded like back then. So I got to researching, and I found a song called Inditas, and they were in waltz time, 3/4 time, which is this, you know, the boom, bum, bum, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. And to the Tauseños' ears, that sounded like an Indian drum. Bum, 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 bum. So there was this song is, I don't know the date on it. I think it's got to be probably 1840s or 50s, but it's about the ciboleros, the buffalo hunters, and it's called the Indita of Manuel Mays.
Oh, it's just, we're Spanish now.
Yeah, we're going to do Spanish now. And I apologize up front if my Spanish is muy mal. Caballo en las tostadas, que tú la muerte me diste. Oh, I messed it up, I'll get it again. Caballo en las tostadas, que tú la muerte me diste. I'll just sing it. I'm not having trouble singing and playing. But basically, he says, my horse is flat as a tostado, but he gave me his life. And then that's repeated. And then he says, me vita tan fantagiago dos un parejo y tan triste. My life has been fantastic, and this pairing, meaning him and the horse, is now sad. So, caballo prieto montado, me and my horse would ride, que tu la muerte me distes, you've given me your life. And tu cuerpo quedo vallano con mi sangrete transistes. That's your body lies flat on the plains and your blood is flowing. Something like that, yeah. And then he talks about the ciboleros were ultimate horsemen, and they called them and the horse the pareja, the pairing, the couple. And so that's how they referred to it. They weren't horse and rider, they were one, they were a couple. Yeah. So he's adios todos las parejas que en el camino encuentre. Somewhere down the road I'll meet you again. Adios madres o anciana y padre Juan Medios Mes. Adios to my ancient mother and my father Juan Medio Mes. Adios mi padres corridos, my friends and the runners. They were called buffalo runners. Do me verán otra vez. It'll be a long time since I hear your voice. Adios mi novia querida. Of course, the last verse is about his old lady. The first 3 verses have been about the horse. Yeah.
Well, I understand that.
Ay, que bonito te ves. How beautiful you are. Adios, hermanos y hermanas. No me verán otra vez. I'll no longer hear your voice. See you again. Adios, parentes queridos. Again, here's to the parents of his wife. Es fin de Manuel Mays. This is the end of Manuel Mays. And then the last verse is al fin de Manuel. This is the end of Manuel Mays. So that's the Hispanic influence.
That's sad, man.
That's sad.
Yeah,
That was a cibolero.
Yeah.
So was that translation was accurate? Eh?
Yeah, that was great. Yeah.
I'm trying. My Spanish, I knew Spanish as a child, but I kind of got away from it.
Yeah.
So.
I was the same way. I knew Spanish as a child.
Yeah.
It got away from me.
Yeah, it got away from me too. So, another. So does anybody know any old songs or want any requests?
Tennessee, Tennessee Stud.
Tennessee Stud. I don't have my harmonica.
When did that one come around?
That was actually a Jimmy Driftwood song.
Oh, so it's
not a period song, but it's about the period.
Yeah.
Do you know Adobe Hacienda?
No. How does it go?
In my coffee Hacienda.
Huh.
Oh, that's kind of fits right here, doesn't it?
Yeah.
The 30s or something.
Yeah.
That kind of fits here.
You know,
Yeah.
The guy who plays
Cindy.
the
Yeah,
yard
Cindy.
banjo and
Yeah,
always sings
I know
it.
Cindy.
That's one of my favorites.
I know Cindy.
There's a
If you knew Cindy like I knew Cindy.
Not that one.
Not that one.
You ought to see my Cindy. She's from way down south. She's so sweet that honeybees they swarm around her mouth. Get along home, get along home, Cindy, Cindy, get along home. Get along home, Cindy, Cindy. It's in D. All right, there. I'm starting to. Get along home, Cindy, Cindy, get along home. Marry you someday. That one, yeah. But that's an old one. It's been around forever. But anyway, if you want to look at the instruments, look at the banjo, look at any of it, come on up, take a look, and I'll just sit around here and play. It's tuned to an open G. So all you got to do
Oh,
is...
you can play rubber?
There you go.
There you
Boy.
go, play the G.
Ready to go.
See,
I had no idea.
folk instruments are tuned to open keys, so that's a G on the guitar. So, but you're there, see? Just strum down.
Well, we got both of them going. We're going to go together.
now, what's another chord?
For you, another chord. So, if you play in G, and then let's do a A. Bar those all the way across.
Okay. Second fret.
The second fret. There you go. Yeah.
Okay.
So play your
Robert,
G.
I know what you need to ask for Christmas, eh?
Now you're ready. G. A. Now they're the same. But the banjo is really a pretty
That was starting to sound really good.
easy instrument to play because it's in an open tuning already. So you don't have to put any fingers down to play a G. And the way they play it is you use either this finger or that finger, whatever you're more comfortable with, and you just go down, hitting everything except this top string.
Okay.
Your finger rests right in here, your thumb, and when you go down, you just pluck it.
You pluck it after.
Yeah, after. And so what you're going to do is it's called a bum ditty,
Yeah.
the banjo. So here you go. Bum ditty, bum ditty. Try that.
You know, I wish I knew how to just like make a clip there, with some of the music you're doing and run it through the video.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wish I could do that. I can't.
Just straight down with your fingers. Now click. There you go. That's all there is to it.
And then back here again.
Yeah. It's as easy as that, and just do it over and over 16 million times until you master it.
I can't get going on it.
Yeah, it takes a while.
Yeah.
Nobody starts getting going on it, but it's that simple. And this is called claw hammer style because it's like beating a claw hammer. That's the way your wrist works.
Okay. Okay. Now, when you were doing a little bit of the lead, are you doing more than one string at a time?
It just
or-
depends. When I was doing the Georgia Buck lead, since it's tuned to an open tuning, I'm just going the
Give
lead.
Mimi. Give Mimi. Good girl.
And of course, in between, I'm doing the
Yeah.
thunk, 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 thunk.
Do it.
All right.
Are you my husband?
Hey,
I got lost
Behind
again.
me.
what's
I
that?
couldn't get this. They didn't have
In that leather case.
This was for one of the guys. He wanted a Gatorade.
I didn't find anything.
So Wade, what
I'll
would
give him that one.
Pierre Cruzet play?
He was a fiddler.
I know. What would he have played
He probably would have played
on
a
the
little bit of everything because
course.
he lived in St. Louis,
Right.
and so would have been exposed to American music and French fiddle.
Right.
So that En Roulant Ma Boule Roulant would have been a good
Well,
one.
it was Spanish territory.
And it was Spanish territory, so he probably would have heard. The inditas are indicative to here alone.
Are you
Taos.
right? Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
but there was other Spanish music, the ancestor of flamenco music and classical guitar, all that stuff. So
Yeah.
lots of them.
So
So
I'm amazed that that fiddle survived that.
It did.
The Cora
the
Discovery.
fiddle survived the
journey.
Lewis and Clark
I'm
expedition.
not blocking that on the back of mine.
But my
No.
camera's about to.
What is that called?
E minor. That's the relative minor for a G.
I want to hear my grandson's favorite song.
Which
Which
one's
is?
I know it, but there are ladies present.
What are you teaching your grandson?
It's a wonderful song, but there are women present, so we'll have to.
Aboard the good ship Venus.
Yeah,
Not quite.
not quite. It's a little raunchier than that. But